Did you know that anxiety disorders are fairly common in children, affecting about 15 to 20% of children and adolescents? That means nearly 1 in 3 adolescents between the age of 13 and 18 experience anxiety. Later in this video, I'll share the best technique for reducing anxiety. Regulation techniques are a great way to manage anxiety levels and reduce them, especially in our children and teenagers. Things like deep breathing, buddy breathing, or rainbow breathing can be helpful for children and teens. Cuddling an adult or a soft toy like a teddy bear can also be helpful, especially for younger children. In our house, our teens use music to reduce and manage anxiety. Often you'll find our teens with headphones on in the sensory swing or lying on the crash pad, regulating with their favorite song or playlist. The body squeeze is another great technique that we found amazing when we first began our discovery journey towards regulation. Anxiety can affect academic performance because it can interfere with their ability to concentrate, learn, and perform well in school. Anxiety may lead to difficulties in completing assignments, participating in class, and taking tests. Anxiety impacts relationships because children with anxiety struggle to form and maintain healthy relationships. If they struggle with social anxiety, it can make it challenging for them to interact with peers, which has a tendency to leave children and teens feeling isolated and lonely. Our physical health can be affected by anxiety, particularly if the anxiety experienced is chronic. Physical impacts of anxiety can look like experiencing headaches, stomach aches, or fatigue, and it can even impact on our sleep. Our ability to regulate our emotions is often hindered by anxiety. For some, they may experience emotions like intense fear, worry, or panic, which tend to be expressed through emotional outbursts, being irrational, having mood swings. When we experience anxiety, our behavior can change. We can become more cautious and try to avoid situations that trigger anxiety, or we might become restless or fidget. Sometimes we can even display excessive, reassurance-seeking behaviors. Self-esteem is often impacted hugely by anxiety and can leave our children or teens doubting themselves, their abilities, and often comparing themselves to others. Often the impacts of anxiety in childhood can continue into adulthood if we are not able to regulate and manage anxiety effectively. Let me introduce you to one of the most effective ways I have discovered to deal with anxiety: the body squeeze. This technique involves tensing up all of the muscles and parts in your body, from your head down to your toes. Once you have all the muscles tight, you keep squeezing them for as long as you can before slowly beginning to release each part of your body one by one. You can start releasing from your head into your shoulders, then into your arms and hands before moving to your torso and legs. You can also start the release at your feet and work up to your head. I often found if our son was really wound up, his head wasn't in the right frame of mind to release tension from the head down. So we often began with the feet and worked our way up, which allowed the signals that there was no threat to travel through the body system to the brain. You might be wondering if this technique really works. I can testify to the fact that it does. Before I discovered this technique, we had tried everything to calm our son down when he experienced dysregulated outbursts. I learned all I could about positive parenting. I tried the consequences route, timeout, losing privileges, and none of it worked until I tried this technique. He was in the middle of a full-blown aggressive outburst that involved door slamming and screaming at everyone. I took him to his room, his safe place, and told him to simply squeeze his body as tight as he could. And when he was ready, he could slowly breathe and loosen the tension in his feet, then his legs, and work his way up to his head. Then I sat and said nothing more and just waited for him to release the tension in his time. Outbursts could last anywhere from 15 minutes to hours, up till this point. The outburst this time lasted less than 10 minutes. There was no arguing, there was no yelling, no aggression, and when he had finished with the squeeze, he was calm, regulated, and relaxed. And we were able to talk about what had triggered his reaction and behavior, and we put strategies in place to help the next time he faced that situation. The body squeeze is my go-to technique when dealing with anxiety or aggression because it relaxes the body without much thought and without the person in the dysregulated state realizing it's happening. It also requires very little verbal communication during the process, which allows the brain to reset itself, and that helps the body to calm down and regulate. The beauty of this body squeeze technique is that it can be effectively used at home and in the classroom. Share your experiences with us and let us know what works for you. For more content on regulation techniques and behavior techniques, like and subscribe to our channel.